I used to believe in ordinary things: coffee before work, podcasts during the drive, Friday drinks with coworkers, a 7 p.m. run to clear my head. That I lived in a quiet part of DC, not far from the water, in an apartment that was always a little too clean for someone my age, safe, predictable, until I met her. It was a Tuesday morning. I was late, rushing to get coffee from a small shop in Georgetown. She was ahead of me in line, black coat, hair pulled back, fingers tapping her phone screen like time was betraying her. She ordered something complicated, paid in cash, and stepped aside. As she turned, her eyes caught mine, just for a second, green, like leaves after rain. I'm not sure why I noticed her. Maybe it was the way she didn't quite fit there, or maybe the way she felt too alive for that morning, for that place, like someone just passing through, not someone who stays. She left her umbrella behind, a thin, gray one leaning forgotten by the window. I hesitated, then grabbed it and ran after her. Hey, wait. She turned at the crosswalk. I caught up, slightly out of breath. You forgot this, I said, holding it out. She smiled. Not a soft smile, sharp, a little amused. Is this your way of asking for my number? I blinked. No, I just thought you'd want to stay dry. Ha. Chivalry still exists. She took the umbrella. Thanks, Ethan. She raised an eyebrow. Claire. We didn't speak again that day, but the next morning, I saw her again, same cafe. Same coat. This time, she nodded at me as I walked in. A small gesture. But it stirred something inside me. It kept happening, day after day. Then came smiles. Then small talk. And one day, she sat at my table. Claire didn't talk much about herself, not at first. She listened, closely. Like someone who'd learned to read between words. She'd tilt her head slightly when I spoke, like she could hear things I wasn't saying. I told her about work. About my boss who had too many vision meetings. About how I hated the smell of printer ink. She laughed at my awkward jokes. Not because they were funny, but because she understood the intention. She told me, almost nothing, that she moved around a lot, that she used to live in New York, for a bit. That she liked the smell of oranges, street music, and thunderstorms, but she always skipped over the big things: family, childhood. Where she went on weekends when she vanished without warning, and for a while, I didn't ask. Some nights we'd walk along the waterfront in silence, our hands brushing, never quite holding. Other nights she'd disappear. No message. No call. Then suddenly, a knock at my door at midnight. Soaking wet. Shivering. And she'd say, "Can I just stay?" And I'd let her in. One night, we were lying on the floor of my living room, our legs tangled, the ceiling fan spinning slow shadows above us. She said, out of nowhere, "Do you ever feel like you're two people? One who does the talking, and one who just watches?" I looked at her. She wasn't looking at me, just staring at the ceiling. "Sometimes," I said. "The second one's quieter. But he sees more." She smiled faintly. "He's the one who keeps the secrets." That night, when she fell asleep on my chest, I stayed awake for hours, wondering what kind of secret she was keeping, and if it had a name. Time passed. We weren't a couple, but we weren't not a couple either. She'd leave little things behind, a scarf, a ring, a book I'd never seen before. She'd hum songs while making tea. Sleep with one arm curled under her head like a child, and sometimes, she'd cry in her sleep. Softly. Not with sobs, with grief so deep it didn't need sound. I never asked why, and she never offered. One Saturday I followed her, not proudly. Not with anger. Just curiosity. She said she had errands to run. Kissed me on the cheek. Left around 10 a.m. I waited 15 minutes, then left too. She walked fast. Head down. Took 2 buses. Ended up near a rundown brick building in southeast DC, near the old Navy Yard. She entered through a side door. I waited 30 minutes. Then an hour. I walked up and read the plaque by the entrance: Freedom Foundation, Global Conflict Response and Field Journalism Initiative. It meant nothing to me, until I googled it later and saw her face on their homepage: Claire Bennett, investigative journalist. Conflict photographer, Syria. Lebanon. Afghanistan. A whole life, one she never told me about. I stared at that screen for what felt like hours. Claire, or Claire Bennett, as the website listed her, had lived more lives than I could count. Photos of war zones, rebel camps, tent hospitals, explosions frozen mid-frame, and in every single one, her face was calm, almost serene. It was as if I didn't know her at all. She wasn't just mysterious. She was someone else, someone brave. Someone reckless, someone who risked her life for the truth, and I'd been getting coffee with her like she was just another girl in line. That night, I didn't mention what I'd seen. She came over late, kicked off her boots, curled into my couch like always. I made tea. She looked tired. No, not tired. Worn. Like the weight she carried was catching up to her. We sat in silence. The kind that wasn't awkward, just heavy. Finally, I said, "You ever lie to someone because you don't want them to see how broken you really are?" She blinked at me. Slowly, then she whispered, "All the time." The next morning, I woke up alone, again, but this time, something was different. Her scarf was gone. Her toothbrush too. No book on the nightstand, like she was erasing herself from my life. I called her. Voicemail. I texted, "You okay?" No response. For 2 days, nothing. On the third day, I got a letter, not an email. Not a text. A handwritten letter in a cream envelope, slipped under my door. "Ethan, I'm sorry, you were never part of the plan, you made it harder. That's why I had to go. Please don't look for me, this isn't your world, and I'd rather you remember me as I was, before I burn it all down. Claire." I stood in the hallway for a long time, the letter trembling in my hands. I should have been angry. I should have cursed her name, but I just sat down on the floor and read it again, and again, because that's what you do when the truth finally cracks the mask, and it's someone you love behind it. I didn't hear from her again for weeks, and I did something I promised I wouldn't. I went to the Freedom Foundation building, spoke to someone at the front desk. Asked for Claire. The receptionist looked at me like I was asking about a ghost. "Claire? She left 3 weeks ago. Didn't say where. Just packed up and vanished. Is she okay?" The woman hesitated. "Depends who you ask." That night I walked the streets for hours, through Adams Morgan, DuPont, Foggy Bottom. I retraced every place we'd ever gone together. That cafe. The park. The library steps. Her laugh echoed in every shadow, but she was gone, really gone. 2 months passed. I tried to move on. I really did. I went out with friends. Downloaded dating apps. Went on 2 dates, both disasters, because every time I heard someone laugh, I remembered her laugh. Every time someone looked at me with kindness, it felt counterfeit. I started writing her letters I never sent. I kept them in a drawer. Pages filled with lines like, "You left, but everything in this city still smells like you. Do you still dream of me like I dream of you? Why did you run if you knew I would have followed you anywhere?" Then came the exhibit. My coworker Noah, loud, pushy, but well-meaning, dragged me to a gallery opening in Northwest, contemporary photojournalism. Free wine. Urban crowd. I didn't want to go, but I went. The exhibit was called, "Where Light Never Reaches." The first wall was covered in black and white portraits of conflict zones, women crying in rubble, children with vacant eyes, a boy holding a torn soccer ball beside a collapsed school, and then, I saw her, Claire, standing in the middle of a refugee camp, camera around her neck, mouth slightly parted, alive. Focused, timeless. I froze. I looked at the tag below the photo, Claire Bennett, final portrait taken by team member James 7 days before her death. Location, Turkish-Syrian border, June 2022. Status, killed in action. What? No. No, that couldn't be real. I stumbled backward, heart racing. I scanned the room, more photos of her. One in front of a fire. One interviewing a soldier. One holding a child's hand. All of them had the same tag. The same death notice. I grabbed a woman nearby, one of the curators. "Excuse me," I said. "Is this real?" "Claire, she's dead." The woman blinked at me. "You knew Claire?" I nodded slowly. We were close." She softened. "I'm sorry. It's hard for all of us. She was brilliant. Reckless. Brave as hell. She knew the risks when she crossed the border that last time. They tried to pull her back, but she never listened when it mattered most. I couldn't breathe, the world shrank to noise, white walls. Silent echoes. A photograph of a woman I loved, and never really knew. I left the exhibit shaking, walked 10 blocks without realizing, ended up sitting on the edge of a fountain near Logan's Circle, her name echoing in my skull like a prayer and a curse. She was gone before she left me, gone even as she kissed me goodbye. That I understood, finally, what she meant in that letter. You were never part of the plan. Because I wasn't. She was saying goodbye long before she ever said the word. 2 weeks after the exhibit, I got a call, unknown number, blocked ID. That I almost didn't answer. Is this Ethan Callahan? A woman's voice. Clipped. Professional, yes, I said carefully. I'm calling on behalf of the Freedom Foundation. We have something Claire Bennett left in her will, specifically for you. Can you come to the DC office today? I walked there in the rain, same brick building. Same door. Inside, I was led to a quiet conference room. A plain envelope waited on the table. My name handwritten in the corner, and a flash drive. The woman handed them to me. She left this the day before she crossed the border. Said it was for someone she never got to say enough to. Then she left me alone. The letter inside said only this. If you're reading this, then you already know how I left the world, but not why I left you. I thought I could have both, the mission and the man. But in the end, I didn't want you to wait for someone who might not come back. Or worse, come back a stranger. I lied to protect you. I left to free you. But what I never did, was stop loving you. On this drive is the real story. The story they'll never publish. The one with the blood. The betrayal. And the boy I kept safe by staying silent. You. I sat there a long time after that. I didn't open the files. Not right away. That I walked instead. To the places we'd been. The steps she danced down in spring. The railing she leaned against watching the Potomac shimmer. Everywhere I went, she was there, not in ghost form, but in memory. In moments that refused to fade. When I finally opened the flash drive later that night, I found hours of video, hidden footage. War crimes. A child carrying water through gunfire. Faces the news never showed, but one clip stayed with me more than all the rest. Claire, sitting in a tent, looking straight at the camera. Dust on her face. Bruise under one eye. Her voice steady. If I die tomorrow, let it be known, it was never about the headlines, not about politics or press awards. It was about the people whose voices were stolen, and the people I left behind because I didn't know how to love them without burning everything down. Ethan. I'm sorry. I loved you more than safety. More than staying. I just didn't know how to be both yours and mine. Then the screen went dark. I never heard her voice again, but I hear it in the silence. And the way I still reach across the bed sometimes, expecting her hand. And the songs she used to hum. The photos no one sees. The umbrella I still keep by the door.